Take a deep breath in. And on the outward breath, that's it, relax your eyelids. And as you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation and exhaling feelings of tension. That's right. I want you to imagine as you're breathing in a feeling of resourcefulness. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a healing white light. Make it as bright as possible, almost like looking into the sun. And I want you to imagine as you breathe in, you can feel that healing white light going in through your nostrils, down your windpipe into your lungs. And I want you to imagine that your heart is taking the healing properties of that healing white light and distributing them to every cell in your body in the same way that your heart can do that with oxygen. And you don't need to know how your heart is able to distribute oxygen through the air, going into your lungs, going around your body. You just know that your body can take what's good and exhale what is waste. So as you breathe in that feeling of resourceful relaxation in that healing white light, notice that as you breathe out, you can imagine a darker color representing those things that are no longer useful for you. As you exhale, imagine exhaling tension, exhaling stress, exhaling anxiety. And notice that as you do that, you become more aware of the echoes of tension and anxiety. Tension is normally stored in muscles, perhaps in your forehead, your jaw, your neck, or your shoulders. Whereas anxiety is normally stored in the gut. If your neck and your shoulders are the bank account of stress, then your gut is the bank account of anxiety. And I want you to imagine that there are certain things you want to keep: wisdom, life lessons, knowledge, experience, good memories. But there are other things that it doesn't make sense to keep. So as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, give yourself permission to just let go of that tension. Feel it melting away from your neck and your shoulders. That's it. And I want you to imagine that any feelings of anxiety or tension in your gut is also melting away. That's it. And again, imagine it leaving your body in your outward breath. As your body relaxes, your imagination becomes more active. And I want you to imagine a mountain in Switzerland. Perhaps you can imagine that you're a bird or a drone flying over this mountain, seeing it from above, seeing the blueness of the skies, the crisp white snow, the incredible landscape. And I want you to see someone that looks like you on the side of that mountain. Only it's a slightly different version of you. A relaxed, peaceful, tranquil version of you. And this is a version of you perhaps from 4 or 5 years ago, where your relationship with the variables outside of your control was different. There was an innate belief that you could handle the challenges that life throws at you. You were able to manage your life in a way that you felt that you could handle the responsibilities that you created or you chose. And I want you to imagine getting closer to that version of you seeing how that version of you, that peaceful, calm, tranquil version of you was breathing. And I want you to breathe at the same pace as that calm, relaxed version of you. That's it. I want you to observe their muscle tension. And if they're relaxed around the neck and the shoulders, then relax your neck and shoulders. If they're relaxed around their eyelids and eyebrows, then relax your eyes. If their jaw is relaxed, then just loosen your jaw. If they're breathing from lower than the chest and the diaphragm, then activate your diaphragm by taking a big outward breath, meaning that on the next breath in, you have to breathe deep there from the diaphragm, enabling more of that Swiss air, fresh, clean air to go into your lungs, as you accept that this pure air is also healing. There are healing properties in the nature, in the surroundings, in the pureness of the environment. And I want you to accept that you are feeling deeper and deeper relaxed. You're giving permission to let go of that tension, that anxiety. The top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Feel your body going deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to imagine your gut as a tired old hose. And I want you to imagine this gut with a tired old hose as having holes in it. It's knotted, it's damaged. And therefore, if you think of an electrical circuit, when cables are knotted, the current passing through those thin wires can heat up, much like the filament in a light bulb. And I want you to imagine what would happen if you imagine that hose becoming unknotted. If you imagine that hose with any holes being fixed until the whole hose there in your gut is looking shiny and new. I want you to get a sense that you're starting to trust that your gut is able to digest the food in the way that you would want to digest your food. And I want you to get a sense that sensations in your gut could have a different meaning than just pain or sickness or illness. They call the gut the second brain, because there's been many times in your life where your intuition has communicated to you through your gut. I want you to get a sense that you're going deeper and deeper relaxed. And as you imagine that gut healing, that shiny new hose there in your gut. That's it. And I want you to imagine that second brain there in your gut has the ability to communicate with you. And I want you to imagine that in the same way in the past it communicated through sensations, it communicated excitement through movement, anxiety through tension. And I want you to accept that your gut has the ability to guide you in some way. And I want you to imagine, as you're there on the side of that mountain, expressing gratitude to your intuition there in your gut. I want you to think back to the times in your life where that gut feel, that gut intuition was helpful in some way, and I want you to thank that part for its positive intention to keep you safe, to avoid mistakes, to help in some way. And if your gut is willing to accept that gratitude, that appreciation, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to communicate to that part of your gut an appreciation that it's trying to do something positive for you. It's trying to help you in some way. I want you to get a sense that it's trying to guide you to a positive direction and you've not been helping it. I want you to accept that perhaps you've been fighting it rather than listening to it. And sometimes the body, if it gets ignored, it gets louder. And I want you to get a sense that you're now willing to listen to what your body is trying to communicate with you. But I want you to ask if it's okay, if it's a two-way conversation, that you'll listen, but you also want to communicate. And I want you to communicate your needs to your gut. Perhaps the need to do important, meaningful work, to create security and freedom in your life. But also that you understand that too much control is out of control and you're willing to have a more harmonious relationship with your gut. And you want to give that gut a voice. So it doesn't just communicate through physical sensations, but it can communicate through an inner dialogue. And if it's willing to do that, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to give a calm, thoughtful voice to this location in the gut. And I want you to ask what its positive intention is doing for you. And if it's able to let you know, just hear that voice in your own head, or perhaps coming from that location there in your gut. And just communicate to that part and say, you're willing to listen, and you're willing to find balance. You're willing to have a less stressful environment. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, so that you can meet the needs of its intention to protect or help in some way, but at the same time, part of your fear is that you need to see a future in which you have stimulation, challenges, excitement, but also the ability to create the life that you desire. And if your gut is willing to work with you in this way to find a balance, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. I want you to thank your gut for working with you in this way, and to agree that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I want you to imagine that you're lowering the stakes in every area of your life, introducing new feelings of acceptance. What you can't control, you won't attempt to control. And what you can control, you'll go about it in a less intense way, incremental way. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, it can be gradual. Then I want you to imagine that you are now skiing down the side of a mountain. And as you ski down the mountain, I want you to get a sense that your gut is helping to guide you down the mountain by tiny, incremental movements. Your focus is on the outside world, but your gut feel is guiding you to take the path of least resistance so you can flow down the mountain. And I want you to accept the suggestion that it's only a matter of time before that harmony returns to your body, that you get the balance just right to be able to pursue the future that you desire in a way that works with your body rather than against it. And if all parts are happy to accept that new dynamic, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to imagine that you're back here in this room listening to my voice. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're back in your body as I count from 1 to 10. So you're fully awake. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 910 wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.